Good evening, everyone. My name is James Taylor. I am the president and CEO of SEC Reporting Analytics. This is a company that I started in 2016 during my last year of my MBA at Drexel University. I did my executive MBA there from 2014 to 2016. And I wanted to do something with it before I lost all of that great information and knowledge from the program. And the Executive MBA program is actually a culmination of many different programs and curriculums, primarily leadership, financial management, operational management, statistics, and a lot of the information that I learned through the program was very helpful for me to apply and integrate a lot of the work experience I had. My former career, I was a cost analyst for a company based out of Wayne, Pennsylvania. And we did a lot of consulting work for large organizations, and we built large, complex, enterprise-wide profitability analytics systems. And I was primarily involved with the data, gathering the data, understanding the data that was already stored in various ERP systems, whether they're homegrown systems or large ERP providers such as SAP and others at the time. And we would extract that enterprise data, that transactional data, and we would work with the finance teams to develop pretty complex models that would help us understand where the costs were really being allocated and driven from, and how to assign those costs out to various different product lines and customers and vendors, et cetera, based on effort. And really the culmination of our projects would be reporting. And we would gather all of these analytics and insights of profitability at various levels within an organization, and we would be able to really help the companies turn themselves around using the data and using the information and the insights that we were providing. So I did that work for about 10 years across various different industries and learned a lot about both data as well as finance and operations and all of the various aspects of how well a company performs. And what I wanted to do with that background, as well as the information and expertise I gained through the Drexel MBA program, was effectively the outcome is this new company I launched, SEC Reporting Analytics. And it took about 3 to 5 years to really develop this system. Primarily, the first thing I needed was data. And so that's the first and foremost thing I went about trying to identify which data sets are available that I could leverage my analytics background, my data background, and my performance management background. So one of the key areas that I was always interested is the stock market, something that I always wanted to invest in, but I never really had the understanding or the knowledge of how really to evaluate these companies. Surely there's great information available and reports that are made available by the companies themselves that they're required to inform their shareholders of, and they're held to very high standards in that regard and face many different regulatory filings and jurisdictions that require them to ensure that the information they're sharing to investors is both accurate and sound, and also provides all of the disclaimers that are necessary to investors to make sure that they're investing appropriately and with complete transparency according to the Securities and Exchange Commission. I myself am not a financial advisor. Anything that I will proceed to provide information about, whether it's data analysis or stock insights, purely are my own opinion. My goal is to simply share the data and make the data come alive through these webinars. And I will continue to support the production of these webinars as we move forward, as we grow our subscriber base and see that the market really values the information that we're providing. Today, I wanted to just basically go through our company overview, just to give you a background of who we are, what we do. And then from there, the second episode, we'll get into actually doing some live querying of our data. And again, trying to make that data become alive. And the ultimate goal would be to get subscribers to join these sessions with me and be able to query the data together, because everybody has a different question and different way of viewing their world and potential investment opportunities that make sense for them. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, and you are, I am not legally able to provide you any insight or recommendations on anything. I am simply doing analysis on data that's readily available to you, but we were able to do a little bit of manipulation with that data and aggregation of that data to make reporting and analysis a lot more easier for you. So the goal of our programs will be to educate you on financial analytics, what ratios mean, and why those are important, and also do comparison on actual results and see who's the winners and who's the losers from a rule of thumb perspective when we look at it from a financial fundamentals perspective. So with that said, let's get right into it. So we are a research assessment company. We are basically relying on information that is presented and published to the SEC website. So again, that data is also available to you for free, but it comes in various different files that also have to be merged and transformed to be able to do the types of analysis that we're going to be doing in this series. So we provide a fundamental financial fact data set. And really, this data is ready for you as a user to analyze as well as to monetize. You can build applications on top of this data. We've had lots of different users and use cases. Lots of researchers, practitioners, and developers of data-driven prediction systems, stock prediction systems also readily use our data set to do their analysis, and you can as well. We host our data sets on the Snowflake Data Cloud Marketplace, so we'll provide some more information for you. If you're interested, you can sign up for a free account with Snowflake, and it will provide you, I believe it's up to $400 in query credits. Thereafter, the cost is relatively inexpensive. Our pricing is simply $1 per query. And we do that such that if you're finding value in it, we would expect you to be querying the data more, and therefore you should rightfully pay more for those queries. But for those people that are not finding it very valuable, they shouldn't really need to query the data much. And again, at $1 a query, you could even run some analysis and only spend a few dollars, but and end up making a significant amount of return based on the insight that you gained. So today, what we'd like to do is just to kind of highlight some of the investor benefits of using our data set. Primarily, again, because we're using SEC financial data, we're able to download cash flow statements, balance sheet information, as well as income statement information. And we did this across the last 10 years of history by quarter. And we were able to aggregate the data, the key metrics from these various different financial statements, and in a manner such that it's analytics ready. And we've quality assured it by actually validating the results that we're publishing to other major providers of content, such as Google Finance, Bloomberg Terminal, and various other online publications such as Morningstar, to make sure that the data that and the ratios that we are calculating are in fact accurate. And once again, we aren't actually calculating much. The reporting itself is providing us the actual figures, but we might be calculating a third ratio from two inputs that were readily provided to us in the reports themselves. Some of the other use cases are quantitative analytics, and this is something where lots of different institutions use quant teams to provide very advanced analytics based, primarily based on stock price movement. But we'd like to introduce the fundamental financials into that mix, not just the stock price history, but also the various different fundamental elements of how a company runs financially. You can analyze this data across many time periods, various industries, and other metrics, as we'll see later when we get into the live querying. This is a sample of our main dashboard. And as you can see, what we're looking at here are a list of companies for each industry within mining. And we're able to actually put a little bit of a filter on there if we want to scrutinize specific companies that meet our investment criteria, such as market to book value, or we also want to look at things like the stock price close date and a specific time range that we want to analyze. So the first graph on our left is actually what we call the total assets, total liabilities, and debt ratio graph. And what this is showing us in green is our total assets for each company. And on top of that is their liabilities. So we can clearly see how much debt a company has versus their total asset, and clearly identify situations and companies that might be over leveraged at a glance. The red line here represents the debt ratio, which is simply total liabilities over total assets. So that will show much higher of a debt ratio when you have greater debt than you have assets.